Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to Keeneland at Home. I'm your host, Christina Blacker, and I can't believe we're already through 2 weeks of the phenomenal fall race meet here at Keeneland, but the excitement is just going to keep on going right from the fall race meet into the Breeders' Cup, and then, of course, the November sale. We just have so much to look forward to at Keeneland right now, and I know that we miss having you there, and I'm sure you miss seeing the horses up close and personal, but I hope that through this show and through some of the other opportunities at Keeneland, you're able to just feel like you're a part of the action. Let us know how you're celebrating. Let us know what you're wearing, what you're drinking with that hashtag Keeneland at Home and your Keeneland watch parties. I want to start the show off today with something a little personal. Our track announcer, Kurt Becker, he's actually the only track announcer that Keeneland has ever known. Up until 1996, there was not a track announcer. So Kurt is the only voice of Keeneland, and that is something really special because for myself, for some of the younger generations, he's just the sound of Keeneland, his voice. He's also a man of many talents and interests. I had the opportunity myself to sit down and have lunch with him about a year or so ago there at one of the sales, and he just had so many questions and so many great stories to tell. So we want to share a few of those with you right now. Here's our Q&A with our one and only track announcer, Kurt Becker.
Hi folks, Kurt Becker here. It has been my privilege to be the track announcer at Keeneland since 1997. Few racing fans have sent in some questions about my job. We thought we might take some time to take a look at those questions, see if we can provide a few answers. Let's start with, what's your pre-race process to memorize names and post positions? That really starts a few days out when the entries are first released from the racing office. I will go online, I'll look up horses, I'll look up past racing footage, and then in that 10 minutes or so from the time they come on the track until the time the horses go in the gate, just keep looking through the binoculars and studying the jockey's silks, because you can identify by seeing the jockey's silks a lot better than you can by trying to search for that pesky saddle towel, because those horses get bunched up and they tend to race pretty close together. Someone else has asked, how did you get into horse racing? I was fortunate, like a lot of folks in the game. I grew up in the horse business, although it was in the standardbred business. My father, for many, many years, has been a track announcer for the harness racing game. He's actually in the Harness Racing Hall of Fame. But he also used to announce some county and state fair thoroughbred races, which was how I first got interested in getting involved in thoroughbred racing. Have you always had a good memory? I've been fortunate in that regard. I actually get this from my mother. My mom is one of these people that she remembers the most trivial things that the rest of us would forget, and it's amazing. So I've been fortunate. You know, in the horse business, we say that the dam's side of the pedigree accounts for 75% of the foal. Well, I subscribe to that theory, at least when it comes to those memorization skills. Someone else wants to know, have you ever gotten tongue-tied when calling a race? I don't know about tongue-tied. I know that sometimes your brain does work faster than your tongue can keep up. I had good advice many years ago from Alan Bestwick, a sportscaster who covered motorsports with me for many years at Motor Racing Network, and then he went on to become a member of the ESPN family of broadcasters. Alan always had good advice. What he used to say about car racing, just because they're going 200 miles an hour doesn't mean you have to go 200 miles an hour. So I just apply that same rule to horse racing. Even though they're going 35 to 40 miles an hour, I still don't have to go that fast. You just have to give yourself time to let everything process through your brain before it reaches your tongue. Someone has asked, what's the toughest name you've had to call during a race? This one might surprise our racing fans. I don't know that I can think of a particular name that was difficult to call. I will give you an example of some of the most challenging are names that are difficult to enunciate clearly. Horses with the name Colony. That 3-syllable word, Colony, if I'm not careful, it comes off my tongue as 2 syllables, and I get frustrated with myself. That's one I always have to stop and be deliberate. Another one, you might remember when Tonalist came here in the Breeders' Cup Classic a few years ago. Seems like a pretty simple name, but those 3 syllables, if I'm not careful, even when I'm working horse sales and I'm announcing at the sales at Keeneland and we have a son or daughter of Tonalist, I have to be careful to slow down and be deliberate because, again, it slides from 3 syllables down to 2 if one doesn't take his time. Another good question. What do you like to do when you're not at Keeneland? My hobby is collecting antique glassware. I have a friend who about 15, 20 years ago got me interested in this. I love Carnival glass, Vaseline glass, custard glass, pressed glass, cut glass. We're talking these old fruit bowls, pitchers, tumblers, vases. I just think they're magnificent. They're beautiful pieces that were made in the late 1800s to early 1900s, and I love the fact that they have survived the test of time. So they're not only a thing of beauty, but they also have a certain rugged quality about them because they have been with us for so many decades. Tell us about your announcing duties outside of horse racing. Well, I touched on it earlier. I've had a chance over the years to be involved with NASCAR racing as a radio play-by-play announcer with the folks at Motor Racing Network. So that's a lot of fun. And what I enjoy most about that was when I go to the NASCAR side, I get folks there that ask me about Keeneland. They ask me about thoroughbred racing. And it's the same thing when it comes the other direction. I get folks in the thoroughbred game who like to ask me about NASCAR racing. That is one of the most fun aspects of my career. It gives me a chance to be an ambassador for both sports. Finally, somebody has asked about my attendance record. Do I have perfect attendance as the track announcer here at Keeneland? I have to admit I don't. I came here in the spring of 1997, and early on in my career, and a lot of folks don't remember this, in the spring of 99, this was back when the Ashland was the opening weekend feature, and then the Toyota Bluegrass would be run the following weekend. Well, on that particular occasion, the Central Bank Ashland, I wasn't here for that weekend. I had been ill and I had been hospitalized, so Mike Battaglia was kind enough to fill in. I will always owe Mike a debt of gratitude, because if Mike hadn't stepped up and said, sure, I'll be happy to cover the weekend, and of course did his usual fantastic job, I don't know what I would have done. So Mike, if you're watching, I still owe you big time. Folks, these are some great questions. It's always fun to talk racing and talk about Keeneland and what we all do here. So with that said, enjoy your race day.
I hope you enjoyed getting to know Kurt Becker a little more in that piece. He's just a wonderful ambassador for Keeneland. So keep those questions coming, because I know he is more than happy to engage with you all on social media and answer any racing questions that you might have. We'll move along in the show. Today is Kids Club Family Day at Keeneland. And last year, I was actually lucky enough to be there with my daughters on this day. I took several business trips to Keeneland and decided to take my girls with me to Kentucky to show them the Bluegrass State, and they absolutely loved it. Keeneland does such a great job of welcoming hundreds of families on this day each and every year. And normally we would have, face painting, arts and crafts, and sweet treats, and just an education to teach the kids about the love of the horse and the love of the sport. So this year, obviously, it has to be a little different, but we have reached out to a local family. The Devers family is going to help us out and show you how they are celebrating their Kids Club Family Day at home.
Hi, Crazy Devers family. We love TV.
Come on inside and we'll show you how we're celebrating the Kids Club Family Day safely from our home this year.
I want green and purple on my daddy's set.
Yep, and then put it on the jockey there. Good job! And then you can pick a different one if you want and use your back.
I'll put the first on my jockey. Set. Stop with that.
Start, get set, go!
Go! Let's get it up there. Here he goes. Here he goes. Here he goes. He won! High five!
Thank you for joining us. Hope you all enjoy your own Kids Club Family Day at home. Bye!
Bye.
So much fun out there. And again, special thanks to the Devers family for sharing their Kids Club at Home Day with us here at Keeneland. We look forward to welcoming you and your family back to the track just as soon as we possibly can. It is time on this Sunday Fun Day to pick some winners to make you some money. And joining me once more is the Uber capper, Ellis Starr. You can always check his picks on Twitter as well. Ellis, it's been a great week of racing. We're going to roll right into the Sunday program. I want to start actually with race 6. We're going to go right to the middle of the race card today. Optional claimers, non-2. We're going the mile and a 16th. What do you make of the 3, Resurrection Road, who runs off the layoff here?
Well, this is a really good race, and we're going to have some rain today. Definitely, it's been due. We haven't had it for a while, but it's definitely coming. And so you have to consider horses that may have run good on off tracks. But Resurrection Road won on a muddy track in March off a layoff, and he's coming back off a layoff again today. And this is what we call the second allowance level. It's abbreviated if you view your free Keeneland programs, NW2X. It's not that complicated. It means non-winners of a maiden race or a claiming race other than 2 times. So these are basically horses that have won 2 races, the first allowance level and the maiden. They could have won claiming races as well. So Resurrection Road won at the lower allowance level, actually at this allowance level in her most recent start in July. And she's eligible to run again because you can do this for the optional $62,500 claiming price. You know, I like to say there's an old thing your mom probably told you is you can't eat your cake and have it too. And that means, you know, it goes away and then you get still there. But in this case, in racing, you can do that. And that's what Resurrection Road is doing. She's taking a second shot at the same piece of cake because she's eligible as long as she's willing to go for the claiming price. And she certainly got a good shot.
That's what those good trainers do, too. They use the condition book to their advantage. So certainly Eric Reed doing so with her. Speaking of good trainers, you can never count out Chad Brown. He has a runner in here with Smooth with a Kick, the number 5. She's the daughter of Candy Ride. They tried stakes competition with her last out. You can see trying to get a little black type for her. They were successful in that. And it looks like a very productive race that she's exiting.
Yeah, this is what we call a key race. A key race is a race, for whatever reason, that more than 2 horses come back to win. Both the first and second finishers came back to win, and she ran third in that stakes. She wasn't disgraced a bit. She gets a jockey change back to Javier Castellano, who was aboard for the win. So you can think that race is repetitive, and it would be good enough to win here. So she's the main contender here, along with Resurrection Road.
Do you play them as far as win bets, Ellis, or are you going to put those 2 in exacta? What's your strategy?
Well, Smooth with a Kick opens at 5-2 and Resurrection Road at 5-1. Chad Brown's horses tend to get bet a little bit, so I'm not sure. I'd say about 2-1 or better for Smooth with a Kick, but certainly I'd bet Resurrection Road at 3-1 or better. And absolutely just play a 2-horse exacta box, 3-5. You win if it comes in 3-5 or 5-3. It's a really simple bet. You know what to root for, and it's a great way to try and make a profit in this race. We're
going to move on to race number 7, Ellis, and I love these races. And this is where you and I both use Equibase, we use Stats Race Lens, and I think the program really shines in this environment because it takes a lot of the work out of the way for you. You just few clicks and you can dig up some good details on these horses. Maiden special weight, 6.5 furlongs. So a lot of first-time starters in here. This is where you need to do that work to kind of figure out the family a little bit. Cousin Larry, the 5, is a homebred for Brereton Jones. He's the son of Cairo Prince. He was second on debut, and second-time starters really eligible to move up. Is he one of those that you think takes a step forward today, Ellis?
Yeah, absolutely. In these races with the young babies, and you never know, these are 2-year-old colts. You could see a Derby winner here, possibly next year if they got to work their way up the ladder, of course. But the fact that Cousin Larry ran is very good. He was clear of the 3rd horse that the winner just drew away by 8. So I kind of call that winning the race within the race. I mean, the other horse is so far ahead, he may not even see the other horse, but he's doing what he's supposed to do and thinks he's due. He's going to get better. And trainer Larry Jones has a really great record, 25% wins in maiden second-time starters who were in the money in their debut.
Larry Jones is so good second time out, as you say. He's good first time out. He had that horse ready for a winning type of effort, so looking forward to what he can do this afternoon. Holy Redeemer, the 10. I was intrigued by the purchase price here. This is a Son of Blame, and he was purchased for $300,000 right there at Keeneland, September of last year. He debuts this afternoon for Stanley Huff. Can he give a good account of himself?
I think so. You know, when you don't have past performances for these races, and one of the reasons I wanted to talk about one of these races is because it gives people the opportunity to understand where you go to instead of just skipping it, because they can really pay well sometimes, is you look at the trainer's record with these kinds of horses and the pedigree. Stan Huff has a great record. He's 5 for 18 first time out in the last year. And as long as the horse is working every 6 to 7 days on average, I think the horse is fit, and I give Holy Redeemer a shot based on those 2 counts.
What about the horse just to his outside for Bill Van Meter? Nakota is a first-time starter, a son of Hard Spun. What does he do today?
Well, this is an interesting horse. Bill Van Meter is a really decent trainer. Again, Race Lens lets me know he's 15 for 88 with all starters the last couple of years, and that's very competent. The only other foal of this horse, the Dam, won its debut by 8 lengths. So we call that precocity, precocious, like a young kid. And I think if that bloodline is passed along, that breeding could do very well working at Keeneland. So he's familiar with the track, and he's worth a shot at 12-1.
How about moving forward? We have another maiden special weight race, Ellis. This is race number 9 on the card, so it'll kind of round out this Sunday program and the week of racing here at Keeneland. 6.5 furlongs, and that to me gets really tricky. You kind of separate some of those horses that really have the stamina from their works in the morning, or maybe from the racing in the afternoon, from those that might be a bit short today. Where do you start in race 9, Ellis?
Well, first, again, I look to see if the horses have run, which ones with experience might improve. The first one I'm looking at is Absolute Chaos, who was pretty well regarded at 7-2 his debut, but he finished 8th of 11. Kind of ask myself why. Well, it was on grass. They tried to grass. Not sure why they did it, but he moves to dirt. He adds blinkers, and the trainer tells me that trainer statistics tell me he can do very well because trainer DeVito is 10 for 25 in dirt sprint starters in maiden special weight, which is the top maiden level here. So I'm going to disregard the debut, but I'm going to be considering that 7-2 odds were indicative of the horse's ability coming in, and give him another shot.
So that's the 9 horse in there, Absolute Chaos. Ricochet, Kelsey Danner is a name that some people might not be familiar with, but she's very high percentage. You see a lot of winners from this barn. She debuts Ricochet, the son of Tapiture, with some good work. So he kind of piqued my interest here.
Well, the sire is 20% with first time. We call it early win, especially first couple crops that a sire has horses that are running. You want to look at those rates because sometimes some sires are producing horses more for longer races later in their careers, but Tapazar is really good at 20%, and Kelsey Danner is good. I think it's a little under the radar here. There's some 5 furlong workouts which show a lot of fitness. Also, 2 horses from very good barns in Safa's Day and Sound Money. Safa's Day for North American leading trainer Steve Asmussen, and Sound Money for North America's second leading trainer Chad Brown. And both these trainers do very, very well above average, 22 to 23% first time out. They could do very well. Safa's Day gets the #1 leading jockey for the Asmussen barn in Santana, and Sound Money is Gaffalione, who we talked about all the time now, winning so many races like Got Stormy. Believe it or not, Gaffalione for Brown is 13 for 41 over the last year. I was very surprised to look up that number. 32% actually, very close to 33, 32% for Brown when Gaffalione rides. So Sound Money's worth a look as well here.
Do you keep an eye on the board, Ellis, in terms of the prices? And as we get closer to post time, would you make a win bet on one of those 4 that happens to be kind of sliding under the radar, perhaps?
Absolutely. So certainly I always look at my top pick first, which is Absolute Chaos, but a little bit because it does have a race under his belt. But the other ones, yes, if I'm getting probably 3-1 or 4-1 or more, I'll definitely make a win bet. And there's nothing wrong with making 2 win bets in a race. You do increase your edge. Only one's going to win. But certainly if you think you have an edge in a race, betting 2 win bets in a race is a sound betting strategy.
All right, Ellis, good luck on this Sunday Fun Day program. Stay dry out there, and I hope you come home with some winners.
Thank you very much.
However you pick your horses, whether you take our advice or you have a methodology of your own, we hope that you have some luck out there, and we hope you make some money at Keeneland if you're playing along online or at home. Rachel is our betologist of the day today. She is going to help you out because, the favorites don't always win those races. And however you pick your horses, that's all right. We support you, and we wish you the best of luck out there with your wagers. Here is our Betology segment today to help you learn how to pick your horses.
If there's one thing to always remember when betting on horse racing, it's this: there are no bad bets. It's true. Any horse can win any given race. In fact, The favorite only wins 25% of the time. Picking the right horse and placing the right bet is just as much an art as it is a science. If you haven't yet, go watch our first 2 videos on the basic bets of win, place, and show, and exotic bets like exactas, trifectas, and superfectas. You can find those videos on Keeneland's YouTube channel in the Betologist playlist. Okay, back to today's Betology lesson, how to pick a horse. Broadly speaking, there are 2 types of bets. The first is called a hunch bet. We like to call that betting with your heart. Pick the gray horse. Pick the horse with the blue saddle towel. Or pick the horse with kitten in its name. Whatever appeals to you, go for it. Hunch betting is all about having fun, win or lose. Handicapping, on the other hand, is the science of evaluating many pieces of information on each horse and making an educated prediction as to what the outcome of that race will be. This is for people who enjoy analyzing information, perfecting their own strategy, and challenging themselves to come out ahead, making more money than they bet. Handicapping always starts with the race program. In a race program, you can find information on every horse in every race. You can look at a horse's career record, pedigree, speed rating, owner, jockey, and much, much more. It's all about finding advantages and beating the odds. But remember, there are no bad bets. In the next episode of Lessons in Betology, we'll be diving into how to read a racing program. Until then, try your luck with a hunch bet, or make your own luck through handicapping on Keeneland Select. It's free, easy to use, and lets you bet on any track from anywhere. Sign up at KeenelandSelect.com. All right, that's it for today. See you next time.
It is time now to have a little fun. Kurt's calls from home. So earlier in the show, you got the chance to put the face to the voice, to meet Kurt Becker and to hear a little bit more about him and his background in track announcing. But this is his lighter side. Today, he is going to treat us with another one of his witty commentaries on one of your home videos. Take a look.
Hi, folks, getting ready for the Danville Derby, and they are off. What a beautiful day for the race. This turf course has never looked better. And in fact, apparently the infield looks pretty appealing because one of our contestants has decided that's the better way around the course. The leader almost gets distracted here. The jockey in the red sash manages to come back and pull the win out by the slimmest of margins, but we've got stuff happening on the front stretch, the back stretch. I think we better cut to commercial.
Kurt, as per usual, thank you very, very much. And to you at home, be sure to keep sending in your funny home videos, and we will hand them over to Kurt Becker for Kurt's calls from home. With so much attention on the thoroughbred industry these days, there's a lot of young people that want to get involved in racing. And if you are one of those people, I want to tell you about KEME. It's the Kentucky Equine Management Internship Program. So many local farms in the area there in Lexington are actually big participators and supporters of this program because it's really a wonderful training ground to kind of find that next employee that might want to go on to work in their business. Juddmonte Farm is a big partner of Keeneland, and they're also a big sponsor of this particular program. So if you are interested in learning more about racing, learning how to work with thoroughbreds, you'll want to hear more about KEME. Take a look.
Anyone who has witnessed thoroughbred racehorses in action can attest to the majesty of each athlete. That beauty, no doubt, is one of the primary attractions for those who spend their lives working in the horse industry. Once one feels the pull, where do you begin? The Kentucky Equine Management Internship Program, KEME for short, was founded to answer that very question.
Feeling was that there were an awful lot of people in the US that probably had a tremendous passion for horses, just like we had. Came over here in 1986, had a lot of discussions with people saying, you know, when I came over here I wanted to get involved in the industry and try and meet all of the professionals and learn as much as I could, and yet there was no formal means to do that without actually going out yourself and having the contacts if you were lucky enough to get into places.
I just felt like the area needed something, kind of an introduction for some new people into the business, and I thought it was a great way to get them started and let them kind of get an inside look.
From its first group of students in 2000, Keene has grown to be a vital institution in Central Kentucky's thoroughbred industry. Much of the credit goes to Leslie Janecka, the program's coordinator and only full-time employee.
We've had more than 750 interns that have come through the program. About 90% of those will, after the internship, get a job in the horse industry. About half of those will end up staying here in Central Kentucky.
We've been very fortunate. We've taken 2 students from every semester right through. I think we've had a total of 60 students plus here since the program started, and I think every farm that's been involved in it feels like we want to give back a little to the industry, and overall it's been a very, very positive program for the thoroughbred industry here in Central Kentucky.
This organization has contributed to the futures of so many students throughout the years, and it's only the beginning as Keene continues to bridge the gap between education and the thoroughbred industry.
Just like anything else, you have to build relationships. Starting with the earlier courses, there were a lot of universities, the bigger universities that had equine programs that cooperated with us. I think by the time we got 5, 6, 7 years into it, not alone were the heads of those programs more comfortable, but I think a lot of those students went back, reported what a good time they had here. The value of it from our point of view is to see what you're seeing behind you and see kids that really have a passion for the game.
There's no limit to what we can do, obviously. We have more and more farms that are interested in participating in the program. I get emails, phone calls every day from people that want to hire our graduates. So I don't really see anything but further growth. I see a lot of growth, I see a lot of potential, and hopefully I will see a lot more of our graduates that will become, the future leaders of our industry.
That's going to wrap things up for us on this Sunday Fun Day. We hope you have enjoyed Keeneland at home once more. And a special thanks to our sponsors, UK HealthCare, ranked Kentucky's #1 hospital for 5 years in a row. Don't forget, First Post is at 1:05 Eastern, and you can be sure to tune in for the entire race program. Here's a look at where you can watch on your TV, at TVG or YouTube. If you have your phone handy, the Keeneland Race Day app is always essential. Keeneland Select and YouTube also available on your phone, and then on your computer, Keeneland.com, Keeneland Select, and YouTube. And don't forget, just at the Keeneland website, that digital program is there. Access to how you can buy your Keeneland at home kits, all sorts of great things. The recipes, you name it, it is available on the Keeneland website. So we'll play you out once more this afternoon with our Railbird sets from the Burl. This has been a great way to end our shows each and every week. And today, Vintage Pistol is going to be our musical guest. I'm Christina Blacker. We will see you next week on Keeneland at Home.